have concerts over there?
Something.
I'm playing the role of Jessica tonight. Good evening.
All right, welcome to the March 7th, 2024. March 7th.
Yes.
Regular meeting of the Lyman Select Board. This meeting is a public proceeding and is being recorded. Would you all please join me for the pledge of allegiance? Seems so long ago since I done this.
Hasn't changed.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just jumping at the two. Yes. All right, let's, there's nothing slotted for item 1, so we'll jump right to item 2. Public input. The public will have 5 minutes to address the board. Please step forward if you have anything.
Michelle Felicetti, Lyman. I just wanted to say this past voting Tuesday was really smooth at the town hall. The workers were really happy. The food smelled really good. As you came in, it was very homey. So everything was just really great. We encountered a lot of situations that in my 5 years of helping, I'd never seen. And everything was able to get resolved smoothly and figured out, but some really just interesting things with these new parties. And there's a lot to learn, a lot to know, and they were right on it. Lindsay and Sue did a fantastic job leading us and getting us through. And we weren't even here that late. I think we were till 9:30, which was really good. Considering we had 4 extra sheets to fill out for paperwork, which I think someone stays up at night figuring out new paperwork to confuse us, but we got it done and out before midnight.
Awesome, great, thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. Anybody else? All right, moving on to item B, mail. It was 3 pages long, but
Yeah.
we have the dispatch for the York County Sheriff's Report in here, and it's, as usual, it's always a fun read to try to figure out what some of the things were. Let's move on to item 3, the minutes review and approve meeting minutes for 2/20/2024.
You guys all reviewed them.
Mhm.
Make a motion, we accept the minutes as written.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? I wasn't here. All in favor?
Aye.
Paying bills.
All right, moving on to item number 4, payroll warrant number 33 in the amount of $30,301.30.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next up, accounts payable warrant number 34 for year-end 2024 in the amount of $592,775.73.
Make a motion to accept payroll, accounts payable warrant 34 in the amount of $592,775.73.
Thank you.
I'm like, wait, I just
Second that.
lost all numbers in my head.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. I really would like to, of a comment that I like, if I have a question when I'm looking at this, that we have the whole register,
Mm.
get some detail behind it, so it usually answers my questions.
Usually, yeah, you can decipher enough of it. Figure it out, yeah. I'm with you. Let's move on to item 5, unfinished business. Franchise agreement.
Nothing new on that.
Public hearing.
No new updates.
Yeah.
Just waiting for the public hearing.
Did you reach out to Tony to see if he would come to the public hearing?
Yep, he's gonna come.
Cool.
I've seen Tony on TV quite a bit lately.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh.
he's been on.
Gets around
Yep.
on the TV.
He's really good in his realm. I guess, so it's great. Let's go on item 5B, discuss chain of communication code of conduct.
Oh, I thought
Yep.
B was the
Yep,
bunganut
yep.
thing, but
They're one letter. Yeah, it's Labor Day in the back.
Any word from Jessica? Does she have any comments?
No.
No. I mean, I'm okay with that. I read it.
Yep.
I don't think there's any reason to kick the can down.
Great place to start.
Yep.
I'm curious about one thing. I mean, it is very, very well written, fairly understandable for me, but I'm wondering, in section 4, select board conduct with town employees, that select board members shall not stop, disrupt, or unduly preoccupy any town employee in the proper conduct of their activities. And nor shall select board members excessively occupy any town employee's personal working space, such as their presence interferes with the proper and efficient conduct of their duties. I've always been a fairly hands-on, not literally, but I always want to come in and see how the employees are and say hi to them. And I'm not trying to steer anybody or tell them how to do their job or any of those things. And And I'm wondering am I still, is this gonna prevent me from being able to be friendly and approachable with the employees?
I'll give you an example of something that has recently come up. So we had, like, the budget committee was working on their budget side of things, and they had a question come up about South Waterboro Road. So they asked Jeanette to look into it, and then it kind of spiraled into, well, get the road commissioner and get the town manager to investigate and research and do all this stuff. So my thoughts on that was like, employees are working during the day, so for any member, a budget committee member or select board member to just say, hold the phone, like, I'm curious about what my neighbor's doing, or I want to look into this right now, like, you go figure it out and research it. It takes us away from what we're trying to do, the day-to-day operations of the town. And so I had, a lot of back and forth conversation with the budget committee saying, hey guys, why don't you look into this and make your recommendation? I'm not going to put this on the road commissioner. I'm not going to take it on myself. I really don't understand what it is you're asking, what it is you're looking, what your idea is. So it's not to say you can't say hello, hey, I want to check in, or, you can't ask a question. It's more just like, don't disrupt like our day-to-day stuff because you have an agenda or you're, hyper focused on like one thing or one issue. Because it's disruptive. Sometimes you guys go in, you ask Jeanette a question, and that's perfectly fine. You'll see something on the accounts payable warrant. You might call her up, hey, I was curious about this. Quick, easy, done, great. That's okay. But what happened with the budget committee is it just like, it went on for like 40 emails and just back and forth. And I said, I can't do this. I don't have the time of day to devote myself to this back and forth stuff. So it's those kind of things, trying to avoid the type of individual that'll go to an employee and say, I want you to do this for me. Stop all your day-to-day stuff and focus on this because I want you to. So does that make sense where I'm like?
No, I get what you're saying. I don't think it's exactly the same situation as me. I want to know because if this is all new, so I just want to make sure that I'm still allowed to access the employees to exchange, hello, how are you? I like to, how are you? Do you need anything?
I do it every.
And I want them to know that I appreciate each and every employee in this town. And I want them to know that, and I'm fairly, shy, quiet, and reserved, so it's hard. So, you know what I mean? So I just want to make sure that I'm not upsetting the apple cart in this regard if that's what I'm doing.
No.
And that's all. I just want to make
No,
sure that
no.
that's still
I
cool
almost think
because,
that's necessary. I hate to say that, I do, but I almost think that's necessary. I say that to everybody when I'm in here, just
yeah,
for the point of saying hi to everybody, let them know, like, I'm in here,
uh-huh,
you're important, I'm saying hi to you.
exactly.
Yeah, but
So as an example, we had a question about something else too. We had asked Jeanette to look into it, and she did. Then someone still went and spoke to someone, so Jeanette's asked them, they're taking up that employee's time to get the answer. Well, now a member is going now to that other employee and having a conversation with him for an hour, so it's eating at the time. So we just had a really good conversation about Jeanette's our contact, to feed things through employees. We shouldn't be overstepping that and let her do that. When they have time, they're gonna get back to us. And that's the type of thing that was addressing with us.
Well, when I was on the budget committee, and even on this board, when I need to ask her something or communicate with her in any way, she's very,
Efficient.
she's
So
quick
there was
to
no need for us
respond,
to go
so,
to that person beyond what we already asked.
right?
And the other example I would have is that if somebody like myself, I get an afternoon that I have nothing to do, and to come in there and there is an employee that wants to sit there and chit chat for, and I go in there and take an hour or 2 hours at a time, just sitting there shooting the breeze. That's like, I would expect somebody to say, they got work to do, let's move it along. So I'm taking up, and it happens in business all the time. And I think that kind of covers it too. But it's not, I agree with it. It's not that you can't, and we should be expected to go in and say hi. and how is everybody doing, but not get into personnel issues or get into work
right.
issues, just how's it going?
Yeah.
You know,
I just don't want to lose the personal
nah, I don't think that's
touch,
what's that.
you know, that's my,
Yeah.
and so that's cool.
Like
That's really,
sometimes when you guys are here, like Eileen was here one day, I was like, oh, hey, you know, like come, I'm trying to get everyone to like meet and greet too.
Yeah.
But we're not always in the same room together, so.
that was really my only question. This is very clearly communicated. This is well written. Thank you.
Do you need a motion to adopt this?
Yes.
I make the motion that we adopt the new Town of Lyman Select Board Code of Conduct.
A second.
Any discussion?
I think we've had it.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we do.
I didn't really think that this was a needed thing when we first talked about it. And all now that I see it in front of me and stuff, I'm saying it's well written and it's clear. And I think that it's a good thing. Which is hard for me to admit. So
All right, all in favor?
I
Sorry, just. All right, okay, let's move on to item C, discuss Bunganut booth repairs update, if any.
All right, so I think in your packet, we got two quotes.
Great.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't get that one.
That's all right. I think it's me.
So 33.
I don't know, two of them, I don't know if they cover placement, one of them I know does. I don't know if you want me to say the names out loud or not.
Well, I have these ones in the packet.
Okay, so Shed Happens is delivery and install and put it in place in. Sorry. So the Shed Happens quote,
Yep.
when I spoke to her and I followed up with her, that price includes delivery to Lyman, they're out of Saco, delivery to Lyman and placing the shed. There's a small fee for the Hillside Barn, is that the other one? That,
Hillview.
Yeah, Hillview. And then I did get a quote from, which I will forward, my apologies, he texted at me, so it got lost, from La Rochelle. And I can show you guys, or do you want me to say the amount or do you want me to show it to you?
I wrote it down, I got 3340.
Yeah, $33.40, and that was, with a small discount. I do not know if that includes placement or delivery.
Who's that
So-
from again?
Mhm.
Who's that from?
La Rochelle. And the difference, the Shed Happens has windows on all three sides.
Yeah.
The other ones only have windows on two sides and the door. So that's basically the difference that I got from all three of the places.
That's when I was looking at them, I liked the design of that one.
Yeah.
The most because I feel like it fits the spot and the windows are great because you got
Yeah.
people going in and out
And
on
coming
each
in
side of
that
it.
direction.
And
Yeah.
I thought that was the best setup.
Yeah.
There's so many options on how to do it with Hillview mini barns that,
Yeah.
it's pages and pages of, you
Yeah.
can do this, you can do
They
that.
wanted
It's a
me,
shed.
they
And
wanted me to kind of give them the design if it was going to be different, to get a different quote. And of course, I'm not a builder.
I sort of feel like we jumped the gun a little bit though. We talked about, putting it in fixing the one that's there or versus, and getting a new one. And then you were gonna look into getting the new one. Have we ever discussed or decided how we're gonna go about with this? Are we?
We did. So we got a
Yeah.
quote from the
All set.
insurance company.
Thank you.
So it's either $1,000 deductible, you fix the window and the door that's broken. Or then we and maybe you might not have been at one of those meetings, I'm not sure. So like on February 5th,
That's a Band-Aid. at
that's a
best,
Band-Aid.
At best.
Yeah, because the other issue, I guess, is the shed's kind of moldy.
All
and
rotted.
It's
Oh, it's raw.
Yeah, well, that's what-
It's,
Terrible shape,
I
so it's
wouldn't
not
put a
really.
dime into it.
So are we all,
match.
are we all in agreement that we want to replace it?
I think
Because I
so.
feel that way myself.
Well, it's going to cost us $4,393, right? Or that's what the insurance
No,
companies,
the deductible is 1,000, so it'll cost you 1,000.
Okay, but to repair
And
it
then
would
the
be
insurance
43, okay.
covers the rest, yeah.
I feel like this is a better value, this,
It's
one-
new.
So we also talked about if you replace it, we'll have to go to the ZBA and get a variance because it's, it has to meet that 75-foot setback.
Karen was something now. Do you want me?
Yes.
Sorry.
Please.
Karen emailed, that you might not have gone it, she emailed the whole group. And she thinks that you don't need a variance on this. It's an 8x8 and it's an 8x4, 8x4. So it's actually going to fit right exactly where it is. And there was something in the ordinance that she found about, as long as you're not encroaching towards the road, you're okay. There, you don't have to ask for a variance. And I don't know if this is my memory of the email
Yeah.
is coming to my head. And if anything, if it did come back a little, it might be 4 inches. It's going to be exactly the same size as what's there. And
Either way,
I think
it's
there's a
not,
planning board member that may be able to help with that answer.
No need to go to the zoning board of appeals. Placing it where it is, I think would be fine. I measured it, it's about 67 feet to the center line. And pushing it even back another 3, I don't think is necessary, particularly in terms of the traffic flow coming in and out.
that's
So
where the
using
pad is.
Same footprint, I think would be just fine.
It's an 8x8.
Mhm.
okay,
No need for variance.
awesome.
Perfect. So we're looking basically at those two, scopes, because the other one is,
There's definitely
Yeah.
more
So-
to it though,
You,
because we have to get power into this building and things like that also.
Is there none there now?
There's power in that current building, but once it's removed, there's nothing in this shed that's coming. There's no outlets, there's no wire, there's no,
So we need a little panel?
it needs to be outfitted.
there's no
Mhm.
panel on it though, I thought.
I mean, it has power, it has a refrigerator and
Well,
air conditioning in the window.
Are you saying that there's no outlets? This isn't,
The new shed won't come prepared for that. It
Yeah.
won't have all
That's-
that.
it's not that big of a
No,
deal,
no,
but
no,
yeah,
just-
that is an added expense,
do you know if
for
there's
sure,
any
but I
lights?
don't think it's a lot.
Do you know if there's any lights in the current booth?
I don't know
Plug the
either.
phone in
Oh,
there.
man, there
You know,
must,
they had air conditioner.
and a refrigerator. I mean, there's gotta be some sort of light in there.
Yeah, I don't know how it feeds in.
Why would they need it?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I don't know, it must come up on the ground.
it's gotta
I mean, we
be,
could,
yeah.
Gonna find out when you take the old one off, that's,
The
Well-
new sheds, are they vinyl wood?
Vinyl wood and 35-year.
Right, yeah, some of them are vinyl, some of them bring regular plastic wood. Some use vinyl wood, the ones on the hillside, they use a lot of vinyl boards, so that's something you're gonna have to replace ever. You know, compared to something maybe pressed wood, or,
Yeah, yeah.
you know what I'm saying? They built, most of those built right there, the ones we got vinyl, made out of vinyl, made out of Pennsylvania. Like, yeah.
so you'd always approve, you'd have to probably approve it at a capital improvement, and then maybe would have Marcel look into what we need for electrical, and we might have to come back with whatever difference that is. I don't know what that would be, unless you wanna look into it before you approve the funds.
Do we know what the lead time is to get these?
Hillside said they had a few models available, but again, if you wanted, it's not exactly what you're looking for. Some of them don't have windows. They do have like 2, but I'm not sure if they're both in Lyman, because they have places all over. Shed Happens, I think, is available, and you can have it in by the time you want it, was my understanding. And Rochelle did have one as well. But again, you might, I don't know, I didn't see how many windows his unit had, or anything like that.
We're kind of ahead of the curve, cause the park's not gonna open till the end of May. I'd wanna get it like fixed up and taken care of, before then, so that YMCA.
Oh, sure.
This will take forever.
Yeah, maybe a little bit more than one before we.
Yeah, I think I'd like to,
I'm more than happy to reach out if anyone wants to, since I've already been in contact with them.
do you know what the first one, the shed happened? Yeah, do you know what that is made out of?
No,
Because,
but I can ask.
okay, yeah, I think I'd like to know what that is.
I can
And
ask
then
them all.
also to see the quote from La Rochelle.
Yeah, I'll forward that on the Wednesday with just a picture. of
Yeah.
something.
Does it say what it includes? Like, does that one include windows or,
No, I can text them and
Okay,
Should we ask Marcel to go take a look at the electrical?
Yeah, figure out, because I don't know how the electrical and stuff, it does have electricity to it, I just don't know how it's all hooked up to the current one. Like Rusty had brought up, so.
Mm,
I know if they do transit of buildings, it's better to put the power in it once it's there than it is to in the parking lot wherever it's being built right now.
Yeah.
It's State fire electrical.
Also, looking through these, I don't see on the first one, the first quote of what size those windows are,
I can ask.
but I see that the window sizes are listed as options on the Hillview.
The only thing on the windows, I was gonna say, we were gonna make sure whomever, I guess we should look at all of them, and
But-
will they hold an air conditioner?
But I do like the design on that, the first one best. I think that
Yeah.
best serves our needs.
That's what we want. Just worried about getting a small shed
Yeah.
window, you know, an air conditioner. I
Yeah,
don't know how big the air
there.
conditioner is.
I can ask.
Yeah,
I can
just
ask
make
you-
sure.
I can ask those questions.
Is the air conditioner in the shed itself? Or did they put it in the mansion?
I think it's through the wall.
Oh, through
Yeah,
the
it's
wall.
from the wall, not.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
permanent.
Yeah.
oh, permanently mounted, sorry.
Because it was up high, because otherwise someone sitting down below is gonna be.
Okay, so any more information? Where we're at.
You wanna know the size of the windows, if they can hold an air conditioner and
Oh,
what the
did they-
material of the shed.
Do they
Yeah,
work
what
out
it's
the
made
proof
out
to
of.
the customer?
The
I
exterior,
don't know how it works.
I don't.
How do they, do they
Everything.
work out from the building, pass out through the window to the car? I don't know.
Yes.
I've never.
Yeah.
Or do they go out and, they do, so it's gotta be
That's
a window
something.
that you can
Lean
lean out.
Sliding window or, yeah.
They did
Yeah.
know what the use was for.
Okay.
And they were all very familiar with one that one. Because they're like, oh yeah, I got it with my kids. So they knew what it was
Okay.
for. But
And I
I'll
don't-
reach out to all of them and get those questions.
The other one was finished interior drywall. There's no need for that. It's a camp, it's a
Yeah.
booth.
It's a booth. It's just more,
Yeah.
more to mold and,
Right, exactly.
yeah, more to be
Places
vandalized?
to
or-
hide.
yeah.
All right, so
So.
we're,
there's
Perfect.
some more info.
thank you.
Promise it won't take as long as Oscar Road for the road.
We promise.
I said we won't, we promise it won't take as long as Oscar Littlefield Road. to improve.
You think?
Let's line up.
That's gotta be the record anyway, you think? We remember, we talked about that, when I was on the board before.
Yeah.
We started that.
Gate, never mind. Review draft personnel policy. We still have one more meeting.
So
on
no new updates, I think we have a workshop the 19th.
that.
Yep.
We're close. We're close.
Make sure I get all those workshops.
We're halfway there.
Yeah, well, we got through halfway through the book.
Yeah.
I thought that went really well.
Too, I thought that was.
That was good.
Let's move on to item E, approval for field use request for Smash.
I sent it to
Excuse me.
you.
Yeah, I do have
And
that.
there's another one too, the softball.
Which is coming later on the agenda. It's under
Okay,
new
oh, sorry,
business.
Oh, yeah.
You can do them together if you want. Put them in order.
Hold on. What was it that was?
So you tabled it because you wanted Buckingham Park Committee to give a recommendation on fee schedule.
That's right.
I don't know if Michelle wants to speak to
Yeah.
that.
It's on there, I mean, they haven't had what we gave them.
Yeah, so I gave you what they came up with, which was like the off-season and then the on-season.
Do you know what months are considered off and what months are considered on? Like for,
Oh. So what we came up with is, like, there's a homeschool group that uses it. So anytime there's not a season with a sport, they have times they wanted to use it. That's how we came up with the off season. So you have like your soccer's in the fall, and there's just certain times of year there's not much going on there, and even the summer.
Yeah.
There's some things, but not as much. So that's where most of the stuff, my understanding with the sports was it's nights and weekends, and they were using it more during the day. So that kind of season where it's not going to interfere with the sports that uses it
Okay.
at night and weekends.
I wasn't sure if you were going like off season of Bunganuck Park, so like from Memorial Day till it ends that season, and then, okay, so that's what I want.
It's been sports season.
Okay, sports season, okay.
That's my memory.
About that, but it's soccer season, when they use it soccer season during the day,
They don't use it during the day though, only on weekends. During the week.
yeah, but Smash uses it
During the day.
soccer season
Right, and
during
that's where
the
that,
day,
like,
is that
that's
still
what
the
the price
counted?
is for that.
Okay.
But that would be considered off because it's during the day.
Day.
Yes, it's during the day, so that was the
Yeah.
off season for Smash High School.
10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Monday through Friday.
I mean, so Smash is using it because they're homeschool, so they're actually just doing it because of the school season. So I don't know if we want to clarify that with like, pretty much it's during school hours for school programs.
Mhm.
Whereas the other ones are outside of school hours, not necessarily for school programming. Does that make sense?
Yep.
I did, I reached out to Billy Single and just gave him a heads up that that's when we intended to start using the field, was April 15th, by the sounds of both of these groups that want to use it. And just the investment that we have in that field, I wanted his opinion on whether it was too wet to have them playing on it, because right now but that's a month away, but who knows, but anyways, he was pretty excited to just be up to date with being, when they're gonna be on the field, and he said he'd offer his opinion. Anyways, I'd hate to see that place get wrecked.
Yeah.
And you don't have to implement the fees. It'll be up to you guys if you want to implement it now or if you want to wait till the next season. That way they have a heads up and they can start maybe collecting money. You know, we could say, you know, we still are collecting donations now if they want to give a donation for this year, and then starting next year, this would be the fees.
My personal is I agree to that, just because of, we're doing budgets and they've done their budgets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like for softball now, to know when there's never been a charge, oh, we're gonna expect this, well,
Right.
yeah, so. And it sounds like most of the other clubs have already been alerted at this, so I thought the fall would be the perfect time to start it. I'm open to any of
Oh, my goodness.
it, just for the lack of being able to play.
I agree with you.
So that's it.
So that said, are we gonna approve the field use for Smash? That's what we're doing.
Right.
With a no fee or, we,
I was thinking no fee.
that's what we haven't charged you in the past.
Yeah, we don't have an official fee schedule.
Okay.
All you have right now is a
Right.
recommendation.
So these are just the
Here's what I
recommendations.
think, that
Yeah.
if we approve this now and let them get going and all the teams get going this year, that starting the January 1st of 25, the fee scales go into effect and we can figure out what those are and implement them before that time. And that, I think that's, there's plenty of notice there, that it would be fairer.
Yeah, because it's a homeschooling group, so if you said, oh, we need $250, that might be detrimental to them at this point. But if they know it's coming up for next
So they
year,
can budget for it.
then yeah.
So I make a motion that we accept the request for Smash to use the field.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And then there is one for Mesa Basic, which is down at the end of item 7. So if you want to pull it out of order and just deal with it, or if you want to deal with it when you get there.
I'm gonna say when we get there, because we're
Okay.
gonna be a second.
Okay.
We're gonna get there in a second.
Okay.
All right, let's move on to item 6, treasurer, expense report. Look at this sitting right there. Jump in, no? You good?
Unless you guys have some questions, I think we're pretty much on track.
Item B, the fire chief. No math tonight.
Yeah. So, doing well, the calls are up,
A ton.
Yeah.
and they see no change in sight.
Well, if you look at 2021, total incidents, 857. And then 22, 897, that's just a little increase. And then bam, 23, 986. So what is the trend? I mean, I know they're only going up,
Yeah.
but that's a lot.
It is.
That's amazing. I like this, all hands.
Yeah.
When I get that email,
Yeah.
I like that. So it's very informative.
See how I flew through that? Where's the house at? Just saying that. If she was here, I'd tell her that, budget season. All right, let's move on to item 7. Review and approve fee schedule for Butternut Park.
So I put this on here just so we're preparing to open the park. And I'll give a little preface to like the data collected for the park from last season. Don't get too hyped if the numbers aren't like lining up exactly. There's a couple things. One is we were tracking 2 different things. We were tracking the amount of traffic going in and out of the park, how many people were coming, how many cars, and we were tracking how many passes we were selling. So they're 2 different things. They're not going to like line up if you try to do the math. So the data that we collected from the Y, it's much improved from the years prior. There are 2 things that I kind of noted. One, so while I was working with the Y last year, get halfway through the season and I'd come to find out they were like charging a different fee for something that we'd never considered or that we were aware of. Like they were charging for like, $10 for anyone who comes in after 4 p.m. So, I would learn that as I went along. And I thought, well, it's not like an unreasonable fee. It makes sense, but we just didn't know about it. So those types of things, I just updated the park management rules that you guys come up with the fee schedule and that the Y does not deviate from it. So I'm going to ask them like, don't change it midway through the season or throw something in there that we don't know about. Then I also got kind of complaints that the attendants were like tracking too much stuff because as we get through the season and they're like, well, we charge, X amount for bicycles and yeah, we charge this amount for senior citizens. And so to try to get the data to make sense, I had to like update all the forms and then their attendants didn't like the fact that they had to like check off so many boxes. So again, I'm just going to ask them like, don't deviate from the fee schedule. You guys are going to come up with what you think is best. I would recommend keep it simple. And then the other thing, when I was looking at the Pine rentals, there was some discrepancy in their data. And again, some people would go and they would prepay for several rental days, but so then they would come in later. So it would get like checked off twice, even though they really only paid once. So throws it off a little bit. And then going through their rental forms, there was like a lot of missing information. It was hard for me to like collect the data on that. So I made a form, which is in the packet. I just did a draft one, and it's really similar to what they were using. But I would ask the Y, like, make sure all this information gets filled out because it's hard for me to go in and try to, if you look on like the second page for the Pine rentals, it's really hard for me to make sense of what we gained from the Pines. It's different from their daily attendance and it's different from their rental reservation forms. And then they also told me that midway through the season that they get a lot of large groups from these other parks and recs departments from other communities that I didn't realize they use the lakeside, not necessarily the Pines. So they were also charging, $250 for like a large group and stuff like that. So now we're aware of these things. And I put in the park management rules just to start the conversation, kind of like a simple fee structure. You guys can, look it over. It's in red on this page. And tell me what you think, what do you guys want to do? I think keeping it the same at the lakeside makes sense, like the $20 per car, $100 per pass. I would probably get rid of the weekly pass because every year we only sell one weekly pass. And then the Pine rentals, I just put Pine rentals or large group fee.
Do we want to put something in there for bicycles or motorcycles since
Well,
they've,
If you
or is
look
the,
at- I did the tallies from the daily attendance, and it's like, through the whole season, you had one bicycle walk in.
okay.
I mean, I just
Yeah.
wouldn't make them check a box for that one person.
Yeah.
4 motorcycles. So.
I guess that's, it's out then, if I'm gonna bring up all my biker friends to Bonneville. We're just gonna drive around and around and around the new shed. Just gonna go in circles.
Should there be another?
Well, again, I don't want to overcomplicate it for the attendants. 'Cause they were
Right.
kind of like, they're trying to track this data and it was getting a little too overwhelming for them because more stuff kept getting added. Originally, what we originally had last year was the non-resident was free, the residents were free. Non-resident was $20 per car. The seasonal pass for non-res was $100. Senior citizens was after 4 PM was $10. And then Pine rentals was $250 per day. So it was really basic before. And it's grown
Yeah.
to more than that.
On what form do you want them to, where am I missing here? What form would you want the Y people to keep track of?
So I created, when we started workshopping with the Y,
Yeah.
we talked about, I would create all forms. So I create them a daily attendance sheet that they use to track
Okay,
based off of your guys' fee schedule that you want to use.
Yeah.
And then I also created them like an Excel spreadsheet, so they have somebody that crunches the data. They can put it in the spreadsheet and it just calculates what it needs to calculate. So I need to know what the fee schedule is gonna be for me to update those forms and give them to the Y.
What are we expecting that 16-year-old kid at the date to mark down when the motorcycle comes through?
You want-
I
Why
don't
not?
wanna-
I
Why
would
not?
say-
dwell on it, but if we want to keep accurate records.
I think that we change
I
per
took it out.
car to per vehicle. Covers bicycles, it covers cars,
Oh,
it
yeah,
covers
that's a great
vans, it
idea.
covers everything.
I love it.
Yes, I like that
Um,
idea.
Yes.
Skateboards.
Skateboard.
hoverboards.
Well, a horse isn't really a vehicle, is it?
I would say yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's 8 hours.
Hey.
If you're,
Hey
if
now,
you're Amish, you're coming in,
That's right, you buddy,
you're in
right?
the buggy.
Might be a little messy on the cleanup, but.
Yeah.
I mean, last year was kind of a washed out season too. I think we did kind of okay as far as revenues came in compared to the season before that.
Mhm.
It'd be interesting to see how this season
A good
fares
year,
if we
right.
get better weather. Because the whole purpose of we were tracking the data, because we want to know
Yeah.
what's coming in,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, this will be a better year. I was going down the same road, what's under $10, just a quick check if you wanted to know. So that's good.
After 4 p.m. makes sense, you know, people who show up after 4, they were like, well, we do a half day. I'm like, it's reasonable.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, I mean, they're the ones that are fighting with them coming to the gate. To know the complaints are.
the time rentals, I mean, all the rental reservation forms never went over, they never exceeded 100 in group size. They were telling us at one of the last meetings that if it's over 100, they charge $8 per person in addition. But there's nothing here that exceeds 100. So I did sort of like a sliding scale. You know, it's this much, this much.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to keep it that way, we can, or we can just stick with $250 per day. Regardless.
I think it's good the way it's written.
Yeah, I think it's simpler because then if there's like, oh, there was 100 and then they had 15 people and now they have to worry about counting out $8 for 15 people. And so I think doing it that way by group size is easiest.
And then revisit it when all the updates.
Yeah, all the
are
different
done.
sections are.
Okay, yeah, I'm okay with it. Good. Great. That's a heck of a lot more than we've had in the past.
Yeah, I like this. I like the direction it's going in.
Yeah, we should ask Michelle, are you happy with these numbers? Now that you know, since you were the initial one to bring this up a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I mean, this is way better than what it was. I mean, we were off by like,
Yeah.
I won't
Couldn't
rehash
make
it.
sense of it.
Yeah,
You
you,
could make
What
sense
is-
of it, but
Yep.
it was like, your eyes kind of bugged out when you saw the difference.
Yep.
You're like, what? That's a really good number.
It's all,
yeah.
That's a good
gotta be
number.
better and better as we progress. with-
Right, and if we can get them separated. it's gonna be-
the amount of-
Yeah.
Well, I make a motion that we accept the fee schedule as written.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion?
Well, except for changing car to vehicle,
Oh.
that
Yeah.
caveat,
Except for that.
Except for that.
except for that.
Okay.
Alright, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Review and approve on a plain brewing liquor license extension application.
So I guess we're gonna do it. And you're here tonight.
Yep, sorry about that. I printed out some actual large-scale site maps so you can see the area which we're going from. So basically what happened when we had the liquor inspector come through, the original plan that we'd come up with, the planning board and all that, excuse me, had a deck on the front of the building and a deck on the side of the building. And with the placement of the electrical transformer, CMP needs to get directly to that transformer, so we had to 86 the whole deck idea. And basically what we're going to do is put picnic tables on the side of the building, and we're going to allow people to have access to a small chunk of grass that they can walk around on. And, they're fine with that. They love the layout. But it wasn't on what we had submitted. So this is like a common thing when people get their licenses and go through the board, that it's like slightly different. And that's kind of what's on that paper drawn there. Would you like to see the fenced in area?
Yes, please.
Sorry, those are trying to make the actual site maps.
If we had a projector.
Well, yeah, that's what she said.
Oh, did I
She's
say
like,
that
we
out
could have
loud?
put it on the board.
What are you looking
I do have info this time. We can talk about afterwards.
Okay.
So basically on the submission form, they asked you to kind of just draw on what you're looking for. This kind of highlighted area
This is the road.
Nope, there's Hill
right here is the submitted fence line, so you can see the
Okay, so
fence
he's
comes
pointing.
right around here, borders the stream and the area right there.
Okay, he'll come.
This area behind the building, this fencing, is to kind of
Okay.
condense like, the holding tanks and stuff like that for brewery waste, so they don't have to kind kind of see that when they're there, the patrons. And then this fencing here is just fencing off the parking lot from the residential property. Basically what, you know, the liquor inspector is looking for is just for us to put signs up that say no alcohol beyond the fence line area, so they're, you know, kind of penned in area while they're consuming. This is the parking lot right here, right? This is the fence going around the parking lot.
Okay.
And now this is the actual brewery. This is the tap room where it's at right there. And this is the production field. But behind it, this is, you know, our condensers and stuff like that. Nobody's going there. So this fence that borders the outside area right here,
Right,
Oh,
yeah.
okay,
that's
that-
what
okay.
this is basic, just grass.
Before and after.
You know what I
Okay.
mean?
So where's the grass area that you're saying to allow?
Everything that's in this
From
fenced in
here.
Oh,
area.
so in this area.
It's not this area right here, it's this fenced in right here. It's
No,
the
yeah, I get
proposed
it.
farm
Yeah,
fence,
but
yes.
this will be,
That's not, they're
Fence
not, they're-
also?
yes, they're not
Okay.
allowed in there.
yeah, okay.
Okay.
Is there any other questions about that?
That's pretty cool. Good.
No.
No. It's okay.
Done with this?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you pick a week. Whatever you want. Thank you.
Thank you.
And if you guys want, I think I sent over the PDF for this in the email. but you can always-
Yeah, there was something in here that was very tiny.
So it expired
Yeah, but
You
on-
didn't-
What-
I
oh,
didn't
not
send
this
the
part,
PDF
not-
out.
the original application.
Yeah, I think I just sent Lindsay over with a printed out one.
Okay, I was like, okay, I can't. see
Because on
that
the,
anyway.
on that one that I sent over, it was kind of hard to see the fence area, so that's why we printed these up.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
Yeah, so this one is what you're,
That's what we're
That's
submitting to the state, but they
currently-
also have a copy of what you have in front of you there that shows the fence that we kind of hand drawed on that.
okay.
And that's exactly what they're looking for. They're really simple with how they do things.
Hmm.
And they were like, this all is just, it doesn't have to be footage or square footage or anything. It's just kind of a vague sketch. They've been really easy to work with, so.
I'll make a motion to approve On a Plain Brewing liquor license extension application.
I will second it.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So I basically have to get you guys to sign the paper, the form as well.
Yep.
Is it all signed?
No,
we'll
it
get
won't
a-
be
we-
signed till the end of tonight, so I can have it emailed to you tomorrow.
Okay,
or
so
have
just
it.
keep that there and then get it back
Yep,
to me.
so I have your original and, yeah, we'll get that back to you.
All right, so that's it?
Yes.
All right, thank you guys.
Yes, thank
Appreciate it.
you.
You were on the schedule for the planning board last night, and so we researched it on the planning board schedule for the 20th. All we would like to do is get a copy of that, so that the original site plan on those decision that we had not have this information there. And the only concerns I think we had were the additional lighting and also the proximity of the area to the pond that's there. If you wouldn't mind stopping on by on the 20th, to just give us a little explanation.
Yeah, I
of that.
can like,
And we'll modify the notice of decision, we're good to go.
yeah, I emailed them back and I, originally it was supposed to be a planning board meeting on the 6th and they approved me on this one too, so I, emailed it back to the 6th.
Well,
It's
the
just the second.
select board approves the liquor license extension.
Yeah.
Right.
But they did want to meet with me on the 6th. So that was just kind of just confusion in the email, I guess.
So on the 20th, 6 o'clock,
Yeah, and
Sorry.
what exactly do you want to know again? The proximity of the fence line to
the
the
bond,
pond?
lighting, and maybe some other additional.
Yeah, that's all on there right there.
So this kind of conversation can go out in the hall, so.
Okay,
we
bye.
Oh,
can-
sorry.
So we can continue our meeting and.
Sorry, I'll see you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry to interrupt.
Did you guys move on to C? Is
Yeah.
that where you're at? Okay.
Yep.
Well,
Item 7. You okay? Yep. Planning board applicant number 1, under new business.
No, don't read it. So it's always confidential until the person's appointed.
Yeah.
If you guys have any big questions you want to ask, we can definitely do an executive session. We can go into executive session. I can review with you the interview and all that stuff, but.
I have a lot of comments I'd like to make about it.
We are going to an executive session,
Yeah, so we can come
If
back
that's-
to this. Yeah,
discuss it there. I would like to also.
Yeah.
Because
that's fine with me.
Thank you.
All right, with that said.
And there it is, it's an application for field use.
Oh, not even on the list. All right, so I had a field use request form for Massapequa Little League softball. Looking for the softball field starting April 15th, I think was the date, until June 15th.
And those were the times, 5:30, 7:30 on weekdays and 9 to 2 on Saturdays.
Yep.
As far as I know, MUSC isn't doing any spring soccer, so there's no interference.
which field is a softball field?
It's the far left-hand, if you're in the road, it's the left-hand field. It's
Yeah.
the only baseball field really left. The one closest to the concession stand is all grass and t-ball. Not yellow.
Okay.
How do you keep track of these? Do you, when they come in, you look at the schedule and see that those conflicts?
And we're working on trying to figure out a calendar that we can put online.
Awesome.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Once she helps you figure out what you can count.
During the research to figure out the fee schedules, I found 4 towns that use the same scheduling software, which is really cool. So if you picked a date, it would tell you if their field was booked. So you actually could submit your form online, and then you actually can see what dates and times are available right then and there without having to dig around or call or make phone calls. And I thought that was pretty neat. I think it was Saco, Gorham, Berwick were 3 that I remember seeing that on. Because one of the cool things I found out too during our meeting from Bunganut is the softball field is 50-70. So basically, junior travel league baseball uses 50-70 fields. And apparently it's very difficult for them to find fields to use because they're all travel leagues. So if we did want to learn, again, that's something we did not think about for the fee schedule as well either. But these travel leagues are huge and you pay huge money for your kids to play in them. There's 13 at minimum, I know, here in Maine for travel leagues, and they travel the whole state and out of state. So something to consider if you're looking to, again, get the field used and also, get money back for what you're doing in those leagues. And they're usually really good and respectful of the fields they use. Again, these are really good teams, but they use the 50-70 fields, which are softball fields for the younger baseball.
Make a motion that we approve the field use request for Massapequa Little League.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion?
The discussion that I would be, these are starting in the middle of April. Who will decide if the fields are up to the ability of being used, if that they're not too wet, muddy, that they won't be trashed, because, I mean, you never know how the spring is gonna go.
Mhm.
So who,
I called Billy Single this morning.
I know you said
Oh,
that,
oh,
and
yeah.
I should have brought this up at the last
I almost feel
thing,
like
and after we voted on it, I was like, oh, missed opportunity. So while we're in
Yeah,
discussion
no.
here,
I mean, I think we take his guidance because he's the one that really oversees that field, but I mean, I think it ultimately would fall on us.
and of course, the infield will be different than the outfield, or,
And that was my
And
first concern when I
grass
saw
field,
this. I was
but-
like, I don't want that field to get trashed. Holy cow.
but I was just curious how
But I
that,
mean, our weather has been so predictable.
oh, my, have a high water table, anyone? Okay, so that was all I wanted
Good
to,
point, but
can
Billy will let
can
us
we
know.
do that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think we could ever put anybody out there before it's ready to go.
Just
Absolutely.
like, you wouldn't wanna wear, you'd have to wear cleats in my yard, even
Yeah.
sinking down to your knees pretty much.
Mud boots right now.
Yeah.
No.
All right, so, all in favor?
Hi, thank you.
Okay, now.
You ready? Make a motion, we go into executive session under MRSA 405A, discussion regarding personnel matters.
I'll second that.
So all in favor?
Hi.
All right.
I'll find the program and the board it to Lindsay to get you guys. People use online. It's kind of cool.
I saw your email about the backpacks, and I was gonna bring one tonight, I forgot it.
Oh, that's good.
No, they're not real big.
Okay, she might be able to do something.
Yeah.
Send me pictures and I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
Can you snap that or whatever? That might work for them.
Good.
That would be great.
Um,
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah.
No.
You're all set. Thank you.
Night, Tom.